Okay. Thank you for joining me in this exercise today. What we'll be doing in just a second is reading each of the 5 sentences I have written behind me. Embedded within them are multiple errors, which I'm going to ask that you correct independently. So first, we'll start by reading each sentence. And then again, I'm going to have you pause the video, reread them yourself, make those corrections, and then resume when you're ready. And we'll see if your corrections align with the ones that I will be making with you. All right, let me go ahead and read each sentence first. So we have, let's see, oh, good, you can see. Number 1 reads, "How could this happen?" Rajbir asks. Number 2, "I thought," he paused, "they would learning to love us." Okie dokie. Sentence number 3, "They're cats," Leanna exclaimed. "They only love food and themselves." Sentence number 4, "Even Mr. Whiskers?" Rajbir mumbled. Leanna nodded, sentence number 5. Leanna nodded. "Especially Mr. Whiskers." All right, I'm going to go ahead and step out, pause the video, read and correct, and then resume when you're ready. Okay. I'm assuming now you've resumed. So we're going to go ahead and dig into sentence number 1. I think it works best this way. Okay, good. All right, sentence number 1. Always begin a sentence, of course, with a capital letter. So I'm going to go ahead and change "how" from a lowercase to an uppercase. And when you're reading it, you also want to watch out for the context of the sentence to determine what punctuation, if any, are going to be necessary. Well, of course, punctuation is always necessary. But how could this happen? Rajbir asked. Here we actually have 2 separate clauses. We have the question, how could this happen? And then the second clause, Rajbir asked, where we're ascribing the question, or rather linking the question to the individual making the question or asking it. So here, because it's something that Rajbir is asking explicitly, it needs to be captured using quotation since it's a form of dialogue. So you always begin with your opening quotation marks, and then you end wherever that last part of the sentence is that is spoken. How could this happen? And again, this is an interrogative sentence, so it does require a question mark within the quotation marks, so not after. And then, of course, probably want to pause. So how could this happen? Pause. Rajbir asked. So we're missing some additional punctuation marks. Here we're going to conclude the statement with a period, not a question mark, because this is not what's being asked. This is just letting you know that Rajbir asked the question in the first clause. Also, Rajbir is a proper noun, so it's a name, which means it needs to be capitalized. Okay, sentence number 2. I thought, right at the beginning of a sentence, independent subject pronoun I always needs to be capitalized. So I thought, he paused, they would learning to love us. Okay, while it doesn't explicitly say that he's saying these things, it's still, again, following the context of the first sentence, implies that he's continuing his speech, right? Or continuing to speak. So I'm going to open it up with quotes. I thought, he paused. So we're going to pause it there within the quotation marks. Pause. Looks like he's continuing his thought. They would learning. So I'm going to open up the quotation marks again. So I thought, he paused, they would learning to. We don't want the gerund. We want they would learn, present progressive, to. This is the stressor, right? This is the adverbial form. Instead, I want the preposition. So they would learn to, which means I'm going to strike that additional O, love us, period, end quotation mark. So I thought, he paused, they would learn to love us. Okay, sentence number 3. They're cats. Again, beginning of the sentence requires capitalization. Also, this is their, so they're cats, as in they own the cats or someone owns these cats, because their, E-I-R, is the possessive form of they. Instead, we're talking about the cats themselves. They are, which is another form of their, capital T-H-E-Y for they, and then we're making a contraction with the word are, so we're going to add the apostrophe R-E. So they are, or they're cats, Leanna exclaimed. Okay, so we know Leanna's saying this in an energetic fashion, right? She's exclaiming it. So I'm going to conclude this last part of this clause with an exclamation mark and then end the quotation marks there. Leanna, being a proper noun, requires capitalization. Leanna, I can just move this, huh? Look at me. All right. Exclaimed. It happened already. So ed, it's a regular verb. They only love food and themselves. Okay, this is a little confusing until you realize, oh, she being Liana is continuing her speech. So Liana exclaimed, comma, they only love food and themselves. We're talking about a plurality of cats, so themselves. So themselves, L-V-E-S, period, and end quotation mark. Or if you want to continue it, of course, you could say, well, perhaps she was also exclaiming it. That's just kind of up to your interpretation. So either period or exclamation mark would suit the sentence just fine. Sentence number 4, even Mr. Whiskers, Rajbir mumbled. So again, begin with a capital. It looks like Rajbir is mumbling something, which means he's stating it, right? Just very quietly. So I'm going to go ahead and open up quotation marks. Even, Mr. is a title, an abbreviated title for Mr., which is used for men. And then because it's an abbreviation, we want to add that period or that dot at the end. Whiskers, so we've got our title and then the name. So Whiskers is a proper noun, needs to be capitalized. Also, Whiskers should be WH, like whale, right? Or when, or what, or where. It's that WH combination. So Whiskers. So even Mr. Whiskers, question mark, comma, Rajbir, proper noun, mumbled, double consonant, mumbled, period. So even Mr. Whiskers, so he's asking a rhetorical question, or perhaps he means for it to be asked or answered. All right, number 5. Liana nodded, or in this case, noted, single D. So Liana, beginning of a sentence, also proper noun, capital letter. Nodded, double consonant, comma. So she's doing this thing. We're describing her physical action. And so now this is what she's saying, right? Is special. Okay, I'm looking for the adverbial form. So especially, Mr. Again, we have our title, which needs to be capitalized. And of course, a period at the end of the abbreviation. Whiskers, capitalized, because of course you have your title with the name. Names being proper noun require capitalization. Also incorrectly spelled, so capital W-H. Whiskers, period, and quotation mark. Okay, well, I hope these exercises were helpful. If you did find them helpful, great. I would appreciate it if you haven't already. If you'd like to subscribe, it would really help me out quite a lot. And of course, if you have suggestions in terms of modifications that you made or mistakes that you made that perhaps you felt I missed, please feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Apart from that, I appreciate any suggestions you may have. Please feel free, again, to leave those in the comment section, and I'm happy to respond. And subscribe if I haven't already said it 3 or 4 times. All right. You have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.